Those of you who are playing at the really high level where you're putting in offers and you've got deals getting accepted and you're coming up with some of those concerning moments that happen inevitably in every single transaction where things are not working out for you and you're getting a little pushback from the transaction itself, from the seller, from the clients, from even your team as you're pushing into this next acquisition. It's really important to stay focused on what you're doing. So wealth principle 4 is put all your eggs in one basket. And since we're starting again, I guess we'll say it the way we started. Welcome back, alchemists. This is the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Morello. We've been going through this journey for the last 4 weeks. This is wealth principle 4. Put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket. Why this principle became so important was something that Warren Buffett said a long time ago. And for those of you who know Warren Buffett's business partner, Charlie Munger, just passed away. Please drop in the chat if you're aware of who he is. If you're not, I'm going to let you know I cried. The moment I found out that Charlie Munger was no longer here, it hit me emotionally because he had such a profound impact on everything that we do in this company. Even long before anybody knew about Alchemist Nation or why we were doing what we were doing, which, by the way, who here is aware that we double our income, double our net worth? That the goal of this company is 100 millionaires inspired to build 100 millionaires. We continue to serve and support our millionaires who are building other millionaires. Charlie Munger said that the first $100,000 is a bitch. But you have to do it. You have to get that first 100,000. If you have to be cheap, if you have to not have the coffee, if you have to eat the ramen noodles, if you have to stay home and not go out, if you have to work an extra job, he said, you just have to do it. Whatever it takes to get to that first 100,000, because after that, the next 100,000 is inevitable. It gets a lot easier. It gets a lot easier once you have an asset that you can invest. So Charlie Munger was really a big part of my life, even though I never met him. And one of my biggest regrets is at the man's age, 99, I should have known when I set the target to meet him years and years ago that I didn't have any time, that there was really no time. He was 96 when I was like, I got to go meet this guy. I should have known then that there was no time. And I should have been more intentional about how fast and proactively I put that into place. Show of hands if you understand how short life is. And sometimes we set goals that we actually didn't take enough energy on to go and accomplish. Well, we're going to solve that today with Wealth Principle 4. One of the big challenges that this principle is going to address is not accomplishing tasks and not ending up where you want to be. Most investors get into real estate investing because they want to create a legacy for their family. They want financial freedom, which means they want to do whatever they want, whenever they want, with whoever they want, or they want to quit their job. Many investors get into investing or start studying or reading investing or reading the Purple Book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, just because they don't like the job that they're in and they'd like to get some choices, some options in their life. Show of hands if you're one of those, familiar with any one of those three: legacy, wealth, financial freedom, or you want to quit your job. Awesome. Very cool. The fourth reason that somebody might get into real estate is because they want to have some positive impact. They want to have positive impact in the world. They want to make a difference, and they realize that money is the only way to do that. So what this principle goes against is diversification. There is this concept out in the world. Financial planners are the worst with this. They said, you got to diversify, you got to diversify, you got to diversify. Show of hands if you've heard of somebody tell you to diversify your wealth, diversify your attention, go and do multiple things just in case something doesn't work, just in case something doesn't work. Diversification is dangerous. And if you do diversify in a time that isn't safe to diversify, you can end up with nothing. You can end up with exactly what you had in the first place or less. And so what we're going to work on today is the opposite of that, which is hyper-focus. It is putting all your eggs in one basket, and it's a two-part principle. Guard that basket. So for those insurance agents on here, you may like the second part of this principle. Insurance is a big part of protection. And there are different ways to protect. You can protect from the taxes. You can protect from things happening in life. And you can also protect from wasted time. So efficiency in your money or in your energy. Each one of you has a really important role to play in these wealth principles. As you're going through them week by week and you're applying the principles, remember, wealth principle 1 was think $1 million. You had to pick $1 million goal. You had to decide to make $1 million. Show of hands if you accomplished that already. You chose to make $1 million this year or an additional $1 million. Excellent. Wealth principle 2 was choose a business that can make $1 million. Some of you had to give up dreams. Some of you had to give up jobs and things that were never going to get you to $1 million. And some of you were already in the right place. And then some of you chose a business that could make $1 million. We did $1 million math. Show of hands if you remember the $1 million math. That was wealth principle 2. All right, then wealth principle 3. Last week, we discussed the 4 types of money. The 4 types of money are income, flow, profit, and equity. Now, when you understand those, it sometimes makes you choose a business that is slightly different than the first choice. But at least you chose an industry and a career that could make $1 million. Then once you start looking into the 4 types of money, you start realizing, okay, this is the sector of that business I want to focus on. Well, wealth principle 4 is now the time to lock things down. There are no more decisions you get to make about your business after this principle. And the reason is people who make too many decisions about what business they're going to be in never get in a business. Show of hands, you got those friends. They start a bunch of things, never finish. All right, those are broke people with broke relationships, broke ideas, and broke bodies. We want to have strong bodies. We want to have fortified situations. So we're going to fill our baskets with the proper skills. Now, each one of you has skills. So I want you to pull out a piece of paper. We're going to do our activity a little bit early today. And every week when we do these principles, we apply activities to them so that we're not just talk. We're not just information, because knowledge, although powerful, it is only knowledge. It's a battery like you put into a Tesla. And with knowledge itself, that Tesla will never go anywhere. So you have to have your vehicle. The next part, the vehicle, is your action. It is the things that you're doing. And if you're just putting your foot on the gas and driving, you could hit something. Although a Tesla would probably protect you from hitting stuff. It'd move things out of the way, but you would end up at a random destination. When you set an intention, you set goals, this is your accountability. You're holding yourself accountable to get to another place. So there are the 3 things that it takes to be successful: knowledge, network, accountability. Knowledge, vehicle, and accountability. So knowledge itself sucks. It's useless. But when you start taking the actions, you end up going places. You end up going to a place that you want to be. Show of hands if you know where you're going. Awesome. Okay. So pull out a pen and paper. And as we're writing this, so you can drop it in the chat if it's comfortable for you. I want you to write down your skills. I want you to write down really tangible skills. So like hard skills that you have learned that you're very good at. This could be walking. It could be running. It could be selling. It could be marketing. It could be negotiations. It could be and these are skills that are undeniable to you, like really, really good skills. Driving your vehicle, running your business, managing people, talking to super high net worth people, raising capital, talking to employees, staff, managing people. Or for some of you, it may be finding deals, finding off-market properties, financing deals. Maybe some of you are really good at creative financing. So think about what makes you good, your skills, things you've acquired. And then another component of skills are people skills, like skills that you've acquired, relationships, networks, assets, these human assets. It could be your spouse, it could be your workout partner, it could be your business partner, it could be strategic partnerships within your company. In Alchemist Nation, we have 12 people that we use in order to build millionaires. So our process for building millionaires includes insurance agents, attorneys, mortgage brokers, etc. People who have access to the resources that it takes to become wealthy. And we also include wholesalers in that group because, well, we need off-market properties. And your human relationships are going to make a difference. So write down some of those key relationships, those skills, and you want to put them into the basket. As we're writing these down, you're putting them into the basket. You're putting them into this particular business that you chose last week, 2 weeks ago, the business you chose, choosing the assets that you can put into that basket and all your time. Now, here's the third thing that you have: time and energy. All of that time and energy that you have should be allotted in ways that allow you to move forward towards your goal, putting them into that basket. Now, time has to be allotted to your spouse, because without your spouse on board, you certainly will not be able to protect your basket. You certainly will not be able to go out and spend time with your basket and using those skills. You also have to protect your body. If you don't have your body lined up and you're not taking some time to make sure that it's okay, then you may end up not having a body that is very functional. Show of hands if you've seen those people. You're wonderfully rich, but they can't do anything with it. It's terrible. So we want to make sure that we have time and resources put aside to make sure we're moving in the right direction. So you put your time into that basket. All your time should be focused on singular tasks that move you forward. So that you've put the amount of time. So maybe it's 4 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, depends on where you're at. Some of you have jobs that you're doing real estate as a side hustle, and you're looking to get to that next level via 2 hours a day or 2 hours a week, which is really hard to do, but 2 hours a day could probably get you there. So now you have to leverage those skills. The reason for the basket, by the way, is to make sure that you get to where you want to go with everything that you have at your disposal. Imagine if you were carrying 3 or 4 baskets and you're attacked by somebody, let's call it the economy, throws inflation at you, and you're attacked by inflation, and you have 3 or 4 baskets and they go after one of your arms. You're going to lose whatever's in that arm. Show of hands if we understand. Like, you will lose to that fight because you can't defend everything. Now, when the beauty of a basket is a lot like, well, my girlfriend's pregnant, so it's a lot like that beauty of the womb, where you can literally defend from all angles and curl up in just fetal position if you had to, but nothing could get to your business, your career, your dream, your goal, because you have the ability to fend off with everything that makes you human, everything that makes you that next level, that person who's able to really attack where you're looking to go. Also, when you're running with your business, if everything's right in front of you, it's protected. You can pick up speed. You can pay attention to what's going on. Show of hands if we understand the importance of really focusing, really, really getting good at one thing within your business, and really, really focusing on those key relationships that help you get there, and focusing on your time that helps you get to that next level. I've seen far too many entrepreneurs come to me and say, man, I'm thinking about getting into wholesaling, being a realtor, being an investor flipping, and also being an investor doing buy and holds. And I'm also thinking about doing this thing called pad split, Airbnb. And I got all these different ideas that I'm doing. And it's like, I hear what you're saying, that you have great ideas, but none of this is committed enough to get you to where you're looking to go. If you're a little Red Riding Hood running through the forest and you got 6 baskets on your arms, I'm sorry, but a tree could knock one of your baskets off. A stupid little branch could take something out of the game for you, let alone when inflation comes, or when interest rates rise, or when the tax game changes, let alone when something else that's big, scary, and hairy comes at you. So, fans, we understand we have to protect what we've got. So diversification is a devil. When you are a millionaire, multimillionaire, then you and I can have a conversation about diversification. But until you are a millionaire or multimillionaire, there's absolutely no reason to get out of a singular business and a singular goal. We've set the goal to make $1 million, or to earn $1 million, whichever target you set. That is the only thing you should be going after. Once you've hit it, you now have an option to diversify. Show of hands if you commit to doing one thing. Awesome. Excellent. The next step to this is protecting it. Now, there are a lot of ways to protect your basket, especially real estate assets. Fortunately, and your time and your body and your energy and yourself. So there are a lot of ways to protect. And there are a lot of things that people don't do that they should do to protect themselves. Has anybody ever seen or been in the rain without an umbrella before? So you know what that's like? It's uncomfortable, except for the one time that you actually kind of wanted to be out there in the rain, experiencing life. You had a spiritual moment. But most times when you're out in the rain, you just want to get to a dry place quickly. Well, it's the same thing with your assets. They want to stay out of the rain. For the most part, rain isn't good for any asset. It's actually one of the most dangerous things in a building. You ask any insurance agent, they're going to tell you the most costly thing in your house is protecting against water. So we want to make sure that we insure our roofs. We want to make sure that we're insuring our buildings, and we want to make sure that we prevent water from getting inside of our buildings. I'm going to go a little tactical on you, a little property management on you, because we just recently acquired 35 units, and we're doing a lot of turnovers right now. And the first thing that I make sure that is fixed is the pipes. I do not want anything bursting. I do not want water anywhere in my building except for in sinks and in toilets. So, fans, if you understand, it's very important. Water is the first thing you get on control. The first thing you get in control is water. It comes from the ceiling and it comes from the pipes. It comes from the basement and it comes from the roof. If you have not tightened up your roof, do not start work inside your building, because anything you do could be damaged or destroyed. So you must protect your assets and protect them via insurance. First thing I do with the building, actually before I even close, is I get an insurance binder for my insurance company. And if I'm doing renovations, if you are doing renovations, the first thing you do is you put renovation insurance on your building. If you're doing a flip, you put renovation insurance on your building. It is 3 times as expensive, but it is 10 times more valuable if something goes wrong. And the next lesson for insuring your properties is make sure that you insure to ARV. That is after repair value. Never, ever, ever insure to cost. Never, ever insure to what it costs you to purchase the property. And I'm saying this because I know there are insurance agents on the call. I know you guys know what you're doing, but there are insurance agents out there who are absolute idiots, and they will mess your life up by just insuring to what you just paid for the building. And that could cause a massive problem if you ever, ever have to claim something on your building. Show of hands, we understand? Insure to ARV. And I pray it never happens to you, but my mentor has had 2 buildings burn on him in the last 30 years, has over 200 units. And so he's like, I insure everything. And the only time it's ever paid off is 2 times. But man, in those 2 times, it could have been terrible. Absolutely, it could have been like wiped me out if that had gone wrong and I had to pay for it. So protect yourself with insurances. There are many types of insurances. There are insurances that you can take for your management company. If you're a syndicator and you're in syndicating deals and you're doing operations and you're raising capital and you're taking investors' money, you can get insurance for your management team, for your operations team. It's really, really important that if you're using other people's money, that you're insured against the SEC, because the SEC is a very, very, very important, good organization that protects investors, but can also slow down your business and hurt you financially if any mistakes are made. Errors and omissions. If you're a realtor, insurance company, any kind of business owner, you need errors and omissions, because if you make a mistake, by the way, show of hands if you're human. Any humans on the call? Excellent. So humans are prone to something. They're prone to 2 things. 1, analysis paralysis. And 2, they're prone to make mistakes. One of the reasons we love AI so much that it eliminates a lot of the mistakes, except for the ones that humans made when programming the AI in the first place. So we are mistake prone. And so it makes sense to get errors and insurance, errors and omissions. Another type of insurance that can protect your assets is making sure that you have umbrella policies on your portfolio. Umbrella policies insure you against somebody slipping, falling, or suing you for some stupid shit that is not your fault. Although if they sue you, in court, they could assume that it's your fault. And so in which case you need an insurance company to back you up. Show of hands if you never want to get sued. Yeah, well, get out of real estate, because it's inevitable at some point. If you're in the game long enough, and if you're in the game long enough, playing big enough, at some point it will happen. That doesn't mean that this lawsuit was justified. It doesn't mean that you will not win, but at some point it may happen. I've had it happen multiple times, and my mentor told me the same thing. When it happens, make sure you've got insurance. Show of hands if that makes sense. Now, we do everything we can by here's the next step. You can insure and assure yourself that things won't go wrong by being proactive, setting in place plans to maintain your buildings. If you live in New England, make sure that your ice is getting scraped and you got snow removal being taken care of. And no, that's not what I was ever sued for. But if you have any kind of tenant issue or management in place, tenant problem management in place, relationship management in place, you can prevent a lot of lawsuits from ever happening in the future. You can also prevent tenants from leaving just by keeping a relationship with them. I'm not saying just fixing shit in their house. I'm saying just say hi to them. Like, my property manager literally just checks in with people to see how they're doing. She's very aware. Actually, he's very aware. All my property managers in the past have been very, very aware of what's going on in the lives of my tenants, because it's their job to make sure that they keep paying rent. That's assurance. Show of hands if you understand assurance. There's a little difference from insurance. Next, protecting your assets. The biggest reason that real estate investors fail is because they don't acquire enough real estate fast enough. The biggest reason, write it down. The biggest reason that real estate investors fail is that they don't get to their target. They don't acquire enough real estate fast enough. If you only acquire a few, they don't pay for you. You have to acquire a bunch. It's kind of like an insurance policy. I can't believe how much I'm talking about insurance today. It's kind of like an insurance policy where you get a whole bunch of policies. So if one goes wrong, it pays for it. This gentleman, Dan Quintel, an early mentor of mine, he told me this. He said, you got to get 3 or 4 of these multifamilies before you feel okay, before it starts really making sense. The first 3 or 4 kind of suck. They're kind of hard. Like, they don't really pay for themselves. It's a lot of work. But then once you get 4, 5, 6, 7, they start to really turn over, and it starts to really kind of make sense. They're paying for each other. And when one goes wrong here, these others are full and occupied, and it makes a lot more sense. Most investors get out of the business because they don't close on a deal fast enough, and they don't close on the next deal fast enough. That is the reason that most people are not successful in real estate, is because they're not taking enough offers or putting enough offers in, and they're not closing enough deals. Something Ron and I talk about often in operations, and me and Gary have been talking about this a little bit more, is lead and lag KPIs. There's a difference. A lead KPI gives you an idea that something's going to happen, and a lag KPI, like a closing, is an idea of what you've already accomplished. Hey, well, we closed, so the company has hit its targets. But a leading KPI would be, how many offers did I submit? Because if you submit 100 offers, you're probably going to lag. You're probably going to close a property. But if you don't submit 100 offers, well, what can you track to get that done? How is it possible to ever close on a piece of property? So in the mentorship, we talk about this. Mitch has been going hard on that this week and last week and the week before. He's been going really hard on putting in offers. And we in fact, I was talking to Vinny this week, and Vinny told me there's something that everybody in this community needs to know. Everything that every single one of us as alchemists needs to understand and know. And so I'm going to share that with you right now. Show fans, I have permission to share what Vinny Chopra told me, billionaire. All right. He said, you need to explain to everybody in the room how you build millionaires. He said, most people don't know. Most people have no clue what this millionaire building process is. And I told him, I get that a lot. I'm on a lot of podcasts, and the first thing they ask me is, what do you do? And I'm like, I build millionaires. And they're like, well, how do you do it? And I'm like, I say this all the time. I say it out on the podcast all the time. But I haven't really said it here within our community. So I want to be very clear. There's a 3-step process. And if you have a pen and paper, you might want to write this down. The first step is the DIY. We build millionaires by teaching people how to become a millionaire. That's what this program is here. It's do it yourself. It's cheap. It's affordable. It's for anybody. Anybody can come into the 52 Weeks of Wealth, go to I Build Millionaires, and you get access. Then we have other DIY stuff like the Recession Proof Challenge, RPC. That's what we call it. RPC, Recession Proof Challenge. That's a 21-day challenge where we walk you through the process of acquiring real estate. That's the goal of it. How to find the deals, how to raise the capital, and we just walk you through actual steps. So it's a DIY. You go out and do it yourself. And we have the calculators on my website, so you can go evaluate things on your own. So it's very much, here's all the information, go take care of it. That is free or very, very affordable. $97 gets into the RPC, which, by the way, starts Monday. So if you're interested in the Recession Proof Challenge, it's $97, starts Monday, and it goes for 21 days, Monday through Friday. And on the weekends, your job is to catch up on anything you were supposed to do during the week. So fans, if you understand, the RPC is step 1. So the Recession Proof Challenge is for our cheap people, our broke people. They don't have options. If you don't have $97, you've got much bigger problems. Go read a book. Go read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a good place to start. The next thing that we do is something called Done With You. And the Done With You process is our mastermind. Many of you are in Mastery. Mastery has part of our mastermind in it. So the mastermind's in it with some other live events. They're designed for training you on acquiring real estate, acquiring capital, and making sure that you are a good manager of your assets. Mastermind happens every week. And the mastermind is really a done with you process. It's very accountable. We're making sure that you're doing your deals. We're telling you to submit offers every single week. In fact, what it was based on was our original mentorship, which was only 8 weeks. It was 8 weeks, $1,000, and it wasn't enough. We built 24 millionaires using the mentorship, but it wasn't enough because people kept asking us, can I jump back into the mentorship again? And so we kept bringing them back into the mentorship over and over throughout the year. So what we decided to do was we'll just build the mastermind, and it's a weekly mastermind, which is basically the accountability, the education. We evaluate deals. And what's happening now, if you're in the mastermind, you already know what I'm talking about, is people are actually funding each other's deals, finding each other's deals, and investing with each other, which is absolutely insane to me. I love seeing, it's like the vision I had is now actually happening right inside the mastermind. People are doing it with each other, with us. So one, let's give our mastermind a big round of applause. Each one of you makes it more valuable, because each one of you has different skills. And the mastermind's $5,000. So that's $500 a month. It's a nice, easy subscription for those who are actively putting in offers, want to close deals, want to get to that next level. Then you have the done for you status. This is where we go and we find the properties, we evaluate the deals, we submit the offers, we put them under agreement, we negotiate the seller financing or creative financing. And then if required, we may help you raise capital. This is where we build the portfolio for you. That's a done for you product. So you got DIY, you do it yourself. Then you got done with you. That's literally we do it with you, mastermind. And that final one is done for you. And that done for you is extremely expensive. And that's really only for the players. That's for people who have a high net worth. The net worth is $250,000. You're doing deals. By the way, you cannot, I want to be very clear. And as you build your businesses, think about this. You cannot get into acquisitions if you do not already own rental property. Because if you haven't already proven your ability to close on things, we're not taking your money because you may choke, you may get scared, you may not be able to manage property, because we do buy a lot of real estate with our acquisitions folks. So it's a very clear process to me how to build millionaires. One, all the information we have on Alchemist Connect, Alchemist Nation, and our platforms and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, all of that is free. That's DIY, do it yourself, learn, educate, take action. Done with you is the mastermind. We do it with you. And then acquisitions is done for you. We build the portfolio. We do all the work. We build the relationships. We lock it down. The only thing you have to do with the done for you side with acquisitions is you've got to manage the property, get your credit right, and close on the deals. Does that make sense? Why there's only so much I can do, right? There's only so much. So when we're talking about putting all your eggs in one basket, there's one basket I chose. But who would like to know the basket I chose? The one I'm going for? So I set the goal. Thank you. I love that you're interested. I set the goal to have $5 billion worth of real estate owned with this community. And so I had to think about what actions can get me there. And so I had 38 products, 38 coaching programs, and 38 different things and webinars and things I used to do. And I asked myself, which ones got us to acquiring real estate with this community? And I cut out 34 programs that had nothing to do with acquiring real estate. They were all educational pieces. I just made them free. I had them all recorded over the last 5 years. I just made them free as part of the DIY side. Show of hands if you understand. I'm still serving. I'm just not doing it with my time anymore. Now it's an asset on Alchemist Nation. The next thing I decided to do is what does buy real estate? What does help us acquire real estate for our community? And it was acquisitions. I look back to a program we did last year. We helped 2 people buy a lot of real estate. So Melanie, I think she bought a $500,000 or $600,000 property with $250,000 of equity, and she did it with zero money down. We just negotiated seller financing for her. Then Greg LeBlanc just closed on 35 units in Decatur, Illinois. And that property we purchased at 1.4 million, and our ARV on that is 3 million. It's like 2.8 million over the next 4 or 5 years. So we're able to acquire quite a bit of equity for him using this process. Show of hands if you understand, it makes it very clear to me what I should be focusing on. If I want to buy a lot of real estate, I should help my community buy a lot of real estate. So that's why you're going to see that we don't offer many of the other programs or products that we used to offer. We're just focusing on 3. We're putting all of our eggs in this one basket, which is DIY, do it yourself, done with us, the mastermind, and done for you, which is acquisitions. Show of hands if you can do the same thing in your business. You know that hyper focus improves. Here's some of the places I've seen it improve for us. Because we're focusing on acquiring real estate, our CRM software is getting better. Now the automations are getting better. The workflows are getting better. The conversations are getting better because that's all we're focusing on. We're hyper focused. Our whole team is now laser focused on how do we get a seller to say yes? How do we get a seller even just to show up and build a relationship with us? And as the government comes out, and by the way, the government just put this new rule in. I told you, like, the government will push things at you. It's not just inflation. It's not just taxes. They just put legislation out that says you cannot call people and sell to them unless you have a previous relationship that dictates that you can have this sales call. Show of hands for familiar with wholesaling. That's all it is. Like, can I buy your house? 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 It's becoming illegal now. So we have to be very intentional about what we do. I will share with you what we're doing about that in the Recession Proof Challenge. In the RPC, everybody who jumps in this time around, I will make sure that you are given the tools and resources to get around what the government's doing. Here's what's really cool. We already have this in place, and we've already been operating this way. Our business model has always been add value and build a relationship. So we've got a very cool process in place that the government, they will never build regulation around what we do because what we do is actually valuable. And I'll teach you how to do that in the RPC. It's very exciting. So that link is challenge.alchemiststation.com. Now, every principle, actually, yeah, Dorina, can you drop that link in the chat? Challenge.alchemiststation.com for everybody who's getting into the RPC for this week. It starts Monday, 1 o'clock. I'll share with you very quickly before we go into the book of the week, which I see Mike is here. The reason we shifted to 1 o'clock is because that's how we started a year ago. We started at 1. I moved it to 10 because I thought 10 would be easier for me. And then a lot of people weren't capable of showing up. The reason it's 1 o'clock is because that's lunchtime. You can take a lunch and you can spend 30 minutes with us and do the mission every day. In the RPC, in the Recession Proof Challenge, you have one mission every single day. And I tell you, on the mission, I record it, I sent it to you, and the mission is this. Whatever I say, I then say, this mission will not self-destruct, but your business might if you don't take action. And you got 5 minutes to go take action on the mission. No mission I give you takes more than 5 minutes. Show of hands if you understand. Simple enough. Yes, it's simple but impactful, because this is a year of putting all our eggs in one basket. It's a year of focusing, laser focusing, which is another principle of the law of hyperfocus, on one thing so that we can get you to where you want to go. Show of hands if your financial freedom is worth it. If you're going to do good things with that money, with that time, because we're really buying you time. We're not buying you money, we're buying you time. Because money is just this is the distraction. Money is just a tool, it's a language of communication that allows us to get time to do the things we want to do with the people that we care about. Show of hands if you got people you care about that would love to spend more time with you, that would find your time valuable. Awesome. One, give yourselves a round of applause. You have a reason to do it. I like that. It's very important. So the book of the week, Michael Shine. You ready? Let's give Mike Shine a big round of applause. He is the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. He's calling from Roatan right now, so he's back on the tropical island where he belongs.
It's kind of funny. I had to plug in, so apparently I'm in the reading corner, but my daughter has some amazing books. So if you zoom in on these books behind me, they're pretty awesome books that Hannah's reading while she's down here. Book of the week. Good to see everybody. Book of the week is The Millionaire Next Door. This is like the OG. I mean, this is really one of the starter books. I think I read this before I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it's just a great book to get you motivated if you feel like you see other people doing things and being successful, but they're different from you. They've got, some special benefit. Maybe they've got a bunch of money, or they're a doctor, so they've got a trade, so they got all the money, and it's like, that's not me. These people can be successful, but I can't. Then you should definitely read The Millionaire Next Door, because it really talks about how simple it can be to become a millionaire. And it's just small steps, and don't be showy. I can't remember. I think it might be Dave Ramsey who said, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. And basically that means that these people, you wouldn't even know that they're millionaires, because they're just quietly going along with their life, and maybe they don't have a Lambo, maybe they have a Ford Explorer or whatever, but they're crushing it. And the reason they're crushing it is they're just picking up real estate. They'll pick up one multifamily, then another multifamily. I talk about this all the time. Gary Keller says, if you were to buy one house a year for 5 years, and then start buying 2 houses a year for the next 5 years, in 10 years, you'd have 15 properties. And that would be enough for you to be the millionaire next door. So I love this book because it really gives you confidence to go and just be a little uncomfortable, not too uncomfortable, and you can become the millionaire next door. And then your neighbors will be like, hey, how did this person do this? And you're the one, and you can tell them. So it's a great book, and it's the OG. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. He is the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. And he's been helping us with these 52 weeks for years now, since we got started. This is our 5th season. This book, The Millionaire Next Door, if you have questions on all of the books or all of the principles, you can very easily go to alchemistnation.com, hit the community tab. And when you get to the 52 weeks to wealth, 52 real estate millionaire principles, you can scroll down and you can get all of the recaps. For this one, we put all your eggs in one basket. And also, if you want the book, you can click on the link. It brings you straight to Amazon, and you can buy The Millionaire Next Door. Also, another pro tip that recently came to me, my team asked me if I can share with you. By the way, is it okay if I made a mistake recently and I share with you and tell you how bad the mistake was? Do I have permission? Okay. So this is me humbly stating that I have sent you far too many emails. Did anybody notice a lot of emails in your email box? Yeah. A lot of text messages. Anybody get a lot of text messages from me? And it's like, it's a lot. It's overwhelming. So from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely apologize. And my goal is this week to give you a week of silence, a week of us trimming back on emails, a week of being respectful. And I feel that the communication that we've been putting out as Alchemist Nation and as me has not been authentic. It has not been the way I want our relationship. I want you to only receive value from me, and I want to be only giving to you. And right now, I don't feel that my emails the last, we'll call it 6 months or year, have been anywhere near valuable. They've been valuable, but they've been also very salesy, very click now, register. Have you gotten on the call yet? And I want to make sure that we're going into this year and really cleaning it up and making sure that when you're receiving something from me, it is of true value. So from the bottom of my heart, I am genuinely thankful for your relationship, but also extremely apologetic. And I'm sorry for my mistakes and not paying attention to the email flows going out. So thank you for understanding. That being said, you will not get as many notifications from us. You will not get as many emails from us, which means you will want to pay closer attention to some things. So I'm going to give you some like due diligence right now. Put this link inside your calendar, in your Google Calendar or your iPhone calendar, so that you know that it shows up every single week. For those of you who are inside of the community, you know you're inside if you spent money with me on some level, then you get to be here on this call at 9:40 in the morning. You get to ask us questions. You get to hang out with us. 9:40 is for our community, for the people who are deep in the community. For those of you who are going to I Build Millionaires, you've never really gotten deep into what we're doing and not really sure how this all works, you can show up at 10 o'clock. Put it in your calendar either way. If you show up at 9:30 or 9:40, you can still hang out with us. It's just we're not going to bring your screen on like you see with everybody in our mastermind and everybody who's been through the Recession Proof Challenge. So you can still type your questions in. You can still engage on some level. And none of us millionaires don't care. Like we still want to help. So 9:40 on Saturday, put it in your calendar so that we don't have to send those notifications. We will allow Zoom and we will allow Eventbrite to send out those notifications, but we will no longer be duplicating or sending out any kind of reminders unless you're in a high paid program like acquisitions, which is a deep relationship company, which we're going to make sure we have good relationships with you, the inner circle, which is part of acquisitions, or mastermind. Our mastermind members, you'll get some communications, but it's going to be significantly less. And the reason being is I don't want you unsubscribing and I don't want to end up in your spam folder. Show of hands if you understand. It's a deep relationship you and I have with me, with our team, with the company, and I want to make sure that we're respecting that. So let's give everybody on the email committee a big round of applause. They're working hard. Gary spent hours just going through workflow after workflow after workflow, shutting things down. And Brian Schilling is making sure that the emails that are written in Liba writes the most amazing. You're going to see now a 1 time a week newsletter from us. And in that 1 time a week newsletter, it's going to have the wealth principle of the week. And underneath it, we're going to tell you what the next wealth principle is. And underneath that is going to be basically everything that's happening inside Alchemist Nation. So if you ever wonder what we're doing, what events are coming up, how to get the links, we'll have them in one clean email that you can just scroll down through. Show of hands if that's significantly easier. Awesome. Excellent. Let's give our team a round of applause. That was a brainstorm session that came out of a very angry and depressed and sad Walter. I felt like I'd really let down my community, and I am not that person. And my team is not that type. They just did what they were told, and I wasn't paying attention. So thank you for your forgiveness. And for those of you who've already jumped off and been like, no, F that. Well, I guess it wasn't going to work. So now you're just going to get one super valuable email from me. And I want to open it up to questions. But before we do, show of hands if you've gotten value from these wealth principles so far. Excellent. One of the commitments I made is I said I would do this for free for 5 years. I said I would do it for free for 5 years. And then after 5 years, 5 seasons, I was going to have to charge so that I could pay somebody else to do this work, to make sure the principles were put out into this community and make sure that things are expanding. So at some point, you may see a subscription charge coming up, and it will not be a lot. It will be super small because there's enough of us to pay for all of the work that it's going to take to get this done. That being said, donate if you want. You don't have to. It's not necessary. It's kind of like Wikipedia. If it's getting value, 2% of you may help us out. And if not, I'm not worried about it. I absolutely love what we're doing. And I think this program is very valuable to people who are getting it. And I've asked the team what they think is reasonable. And they started with $97 a month. And I said, let's not do that because I got people in the Philippines. I got people in Pakistan and India. And so we're looking at somewhere close to $10 a month as just a value to put on all of the software, all of the training inside of Alchemist Nation, including this 52 Weeks to Wealth. So part of the DIY will probably be a super, super, super affordable membership that gets a person access to do the Recession Proof Challenge, gets them access to all sorts of stuff. So, fans, if that's a cool idea, yeah. If you got a mission, if you got a purpose, if you got things that you're doing, You've got to find a way to get somebody to pay for them so you can keep giving back. If you've got a great company that's doing some great stuff, you don't have to charge people thousands of dollars to be a coach or a mentor or a trainer. I think a lot of guys do that and they push really too hard on those sides. And I've been guilty of it because I drank the Kool-Aid, I went and I did stuff. But what I found is a three-step process of a DIY done with you and a done for you will allow you to scale your business. I'm going to ask you to go back and look at your products, look at your services, and find out what is delivering the most value to your clients, and also what takes the most time from you, and see if they correlate. With the mastermind at 5,000, I don't have any problems filling it. It's very easy. People jump in. When I was selling, here's one. When I was selling webinars for $97, 1 hour webinars or 30-minute webinars, I had a hard time filling them. When I would sell the webinar when I give the webinar away, I had no problem filling it. When I give the webinar away for $9.97, no problem. So there's certain things that are of certain levels of value. My one-on-one coaching is $100,000. I just don't, I can't go below it because it involves me. But the mastermind or the inner circle, inner circle is a little more expensive, but the mastermind is much more scalable because I can have a lot of people in the room, and the value really is the relationships with the other members. And I'm just kind of a DJ host. I put the information out, but then we make sure that everybody's applying it. Your business has components like that. Like Mike Shine is an attorney. So there are certain things that Mike does for free. Like he'll jump on a call, he'll evaluate your project, and he may even do some paperwork for free. But his staff costs him money. So when he does a closing, he has to make sure if a contract is written or a document is written, that he gets paid for that because he's got a staff that he's got to take care of. And also, Mike is a lender. So sometimes he buys property. So that's his third avenue. All the relationships that he's done with closings, that third avenue is he actually gets to invest and partner up with people. So he usually takes 50% of those investments, those deals. And that is where he makes his bigger money. Show of hands if you understand. Done with you, done for you, done DIY, right? Here's some education. There's a lot of free education, which he doesn't hear. It's cool. It's very cool when you look at this principle and you start applying it into your life. I want to open up to questions because that is the most, I think, important part of this community is that you can freely ask questions. And if you want to break down how this principle works in your life and how it works with you, then I'm very, very interested because I want to know what you're putting all your eggs into. What basket are you putting your eggs into? So first unmute wins. By the way, let's give each one of you a big round of applause for showing up every Saturday. I'll give you a pro tip. While we're waiting for whoever unmutes and shouts out wins. So the people who show up every single week and apply one principle at a time end up with an unstoppable business. You cannot stop a business that is built on principles. You can stop a business built on strategy or tactics. Those businesses are flimsy and fall apart. But you cannot, undeniably, you cannot have a negative impact on a business that is built by principles, one applied at a time per week. And every single year, I've got guys who've been through this program and they're making but their net worth is $5, $6, $10 million. And they've been through this 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times. It's their 4th time now, 5th time through it. And these guys and gals will tell you every year their business is different. Every year, these principles have to be readdressed. Every year, we go back through the basics and we go back and we build and tighten up the business. And some businesses don't stick around long enough. They have to transition to new businesses. And that's part of what the 52 Weeks to Wealth does as well. Go ahead, Mitch.
Gee, I just wanted to point something out because it's just ridiculous when it comes to like the amount of value you put into this community and just like Alchemist Nation on a whole, because it's at the forefront of my mind because right now there's another call going on that I'd love to be on. So, my buddy Pete, he's, my day trading guy from my day trading days. He's got his day trading community, his options trading community. His community is crushing it. Like he does a really good job. He's one of the few guys in that space that I feel like truly adds value, and his community actually makes money trading, but it ain't cheap to be part of it. And he has a Saturday morning 10 a.m. call that a lot of times I'll actually listen to the replay just to kind of, because he was cool enough to give me access because we go back like decades. But the point is, you can't get access to that call if you're not part of his program, which costs $6,000 a year. Like he has a Saturday 10 a.m. call that there's no, hey, come. It's like you're either in our thing or you're not. And I was just like, huh. And you've been doing this, like you said, for free. Like we're coming up on, year 5. And now you're like, oh, we're going to charge a little subscription fee. And when you said $10, like literally my jaw almost dropped. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? I was like, for a month, I'm like, Audible costs more than that. Like, so I just like, I don't know. I had to share, like, it's just crazy. The amount of stuff that, Alchemist Nation's done over the last 3 to 4 years, the amount of information that's gone out there, and just even the accountability that even happens on these calls, right? So it just clicked in my head because, like I said, there's a call going on right now as well with a good friend of mine, in a different space. And, you know, he gives valuable information. He's, his community's doing well, but it's just like he has zero freebies. Like there's zero freebies. Like even like, he had, he's got an entry level thing, for like I think a few $100. It's like a 1 week program where, teaches basics, and then you decide if you want to become part of the community. And if you do, it's like 6 grand, or, hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. And there's no like, it's just like you're in or you're out. Like, so I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but I just like said the value has been sick. And, this call, I think actually charging a subscription fee is going to level up the call, because what it's going to do is it's going to whittle it down. Like I fully expect you're going to see less people the first few weeks, and then it's going to keep growing from there again. And then the quality of the individuals in here is going to be a little bit better, just because they're more serious, because we've seen it all the time. I see it all the time. I'm guilty of it. I've given so much stuff, done so many things for free, so many, calls and whatnot. And it's just like 100 people will register, 20 will show up. But if they pay for it, 90 of them show up. It's like, huh? So anyway, I'm done with my rant. I just wanted to point out that like it's just sick value, and you really don't realize it until like you kind of almost compare it to something else. I just want to say really for the last 3 to 4 years, and I've been part of it. I've given a lot of my time, and don't even get me wrong, sometimes that's even worn me out. Same thing with Mike Shine, Doug, but especially just the Alchemist Nation team. Like seriously, round of applause for awesome content that you literally gave out to the universe, asking nothing in return for 3 to 4 years now. So don't even hesitate to charge your whole $10, sir. Freaking $10. Are you kidding me? I love it.
Shorsky a round of applause. And if you haven't listened to the Alchemist Station podcast, Mitch and Andrew have been interviewing some serious players. I know they're going to be pulling some syndicators on. They've been going through everybody who was at the 100 Millionaire Summit.
Yes.
And, that
we have an
podcast is
awesome
really
one coming
leveling
up. We just interviewed Jeff Holst, who claims to be the most interesting man in the world, and it was a very interesting episode. So I think it comes out next week. Check it out. He drops a lot of knowledge. He owns like 250 units, and that's not even the fun part of his story. So I think Andrew will have it out next week. Looking forward to listening to it myself after being part of it.
I believe I met Jeff Holst with you at a Rod Cleef event, and he was on Bigger Pockets too, wasn't he?
I believe you. I can't remember if he might have. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, we met. Yeah, you met him at in fact, he called you out on the podcast. I don't know if it was when we were recording. He was like, yeah, Walter kept saying, I gotta have you on the podcast. I gotta have you on the podcast. He's like, and we never did it. I was like, I got you, bro.
Give Mitch Shorsky a round of applause. Third, but I see your hand up, brother.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about it. So like I'm just thinking about myself, and I just think this question could relate to everybody. Like how do you like, when you have those like really rough moments in life where like everything just going against you, and like how do you just really like hunker down and just bolt in on committing to the $1 million business?
This is a good question. It's also very personal, my answer, if that's okay. So Ron and I looked at Alchemist Nation this year, and we looked at the last 4 years, and he and I have invested $1.25 million into Alchemist Nation. This is the first year we've took a 6-figure loss on the company. And we looked at it and we had to say, is this worth doing? The way we're doing it, something isn't right. We're not running this the way we run our investment company. We're not running this the way we run our ghostwriting company. We're not running this the way we run our acquisitions company. Why are we allowing this to operate subpar or less? And is this even worth our time? Is this something we should do? And does it make any sense? And it brought us back to a conversation he and I had 8 years ago. We were running South Coast Real Estate Investors Group. We were just a couple of real estate investors. We knew nothing. We were lonely. We just wanted to have friends, who were real estate investors also, and just talk about real estate investing. And first time we did it was 3 guys in a room. three guys, and went around the room and we were like, hey, what do you do? How many units you got? And everybody had no units. And then they came to us, and me and Ron had 42 units. And they were like, oh my God, how did you do it? And they just started asking questions. And they're like, you guys going to be here next month? You're going to do it again. And then next month they brought friends, and there were 8 people there, and it continued to grow. But Ron and I would get frustrated, be like, we're introverts. Like, we just want to buy real estate. Like after we got all the friends, we didn't want to do the event anymore. You know, a year or two later, we didn't want to do the work. We didn't want to show up. You know, it felt like work to show up and do these events and host everything, and text everybody to see if they're going to be there, and make sure the venue was okay. And he and I would look at it, and we'd go back and be like, where did all of our deals come from? And it would be South Coast Real Estate Investor Group. That guy we met, invested 26,000 with us. Now he's invested 350,000 with us. Or where did our that was capital. Where did our deals come from? Well, Ken Hoffman sent us that 24-unit condo complex that we ended up buying. Or Josh sent us this 11 units that we ended up buying. Or Josh Pimentel sent us this other deal that we ended up buying. And so we started doing the math, and it all came from the community. And we were like, damn, like this community thing that we're doing for free, and most recently that we've lost money on, is been the source of what gets us out of bed in the morning. It's been the source of what makes us go and invest in real estate, and it like allows us the capital and the relationships to do those deals. And it's also forced us to educate ourselves to that next level, because people are asking us questions. That's what we learned in that event. Was we were the smartest guys in the room, but now because they asked me questions, I had to go prepare and learn more things, because I want to, in my head, make sure I had the answers for the next month if they asked me something I didn't understand or didn't have a clear understanding of. So I was going back to my mentors and asking them the why behind the things they told me to do. Because in the past, I was just like, yeah, tell me what to do and I'll go do it. And I needed to now understand the why. So Thurbin, Ron and I sat down in that conversation. We said, we're going to make Alchemist Nation profitable this year. What will it take to do that? And that's why we wrote down those 3 products. We went and we did the math, and we said, these 3 products are the only things we want to do that are also extremely profitable, to also build the mission, that really get us to invest with our community and really help a lot of people become millionaires and retire and financially free and spend time doing the things we want them to do, which is unfurling their souls, becoming just better human beings and having a better impact. And we asked ourselves, is it worth the work to go and build that system, to go and stay in this for another 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And he and I both came up with the answer, yes. So in those moments, Thurman, when everything is beating you up, when you've had a bad year, maybe you lost 6 figures in your company, or you haven't hit your financial targets, or the government puts a thing in place that stops you or slows you down, you have to go back to your genuine why. And for us, we wanted to see other people do better, because there was a point where we didn't have anybody to teach us what to do, to help us get through the process. We are committed to making sure other people can become wealthy, so they can read the books we've read, so they can go to the events we've done, so we can, I work out every day so they can do a year of leg day if that's what they want to do. My girlfriend rides horses, super expensive. She does yoga every day. Like, we have a beautiful house that she gets to unfurl her soul decorating and having fun with. You got to find your why and say, is it worth it? Like for us, building millionaires, I want other people to know the experience I experience. I want them to know the life that I live. That's enough for me to keep doing this, and to do it right, to do it better, to charge a small subscription, make little changes, right? You've got to ask yourself that. Do you know your why deep enough? And do you believe in yourself enough? Are you the right person to get it done? I know I'm not, but I will become the right person to pull it off. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to adjust. I'm willing to fix myself. I told Ron, I was like, I am not the right CEO for this company. I am not capable of this. And he told me, you are all we've got. So you're going to have to figure it out. So you may not be where you want to be. You may not be and I'll tell you, I don't feel capable or adequate, but I will. And I've surrounded myself with a council who will force me to become better. And I think you can do the same thing if I can. Long answer. Does that help?
Yeah.
Give
Thank
Thurman
you.
James a round of applause. He reads 100 books a year. He even wrote a book on how to read 100 books a year. Go ahead, Christina.
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank you. The value that you give in this community is very invaluable. It's like amazing. You cannot put money, like, dollar signs to it. And someone invited me to this Saturday event. And when I started, I already invested, but, I couldn't find my why. And I remember those were my first questions. My why. I don't know what is my why. I was like kind of lost. I didn't know how to continue or whatever. And you gave me a lot of advice, everybody. And I feel like when I have like trouble and when I have a doubt or when I just have a question, I can come on a Saturday morning and log in and ask this question that is bothering me. Nobody's gonna judge me. Nobody's gonna tell me, your question is stupid or you should know. No, everybody helps me. Everybody like gives me true advice, and I really appreciate it. And it has changed my mind, and it has changed the way I see things. Even when I met in person Mitch on the event last year, and I just, he asked me a question, what do you do or whatever, and he made me realize that I should be more grateful for what I have. And sometimes, entrepreneurs are very hard on ourselves. We think that we haven't done nothing, and we have done a lot, but we always are on the next goal, What is the next? What is the next? What I'm missing, what I need to do, always, all the time. We are constantly going on the next. And we don't stop and see what we have accomplished. So I just want to thank you and your community for everything. Yeah, thank you.
Let's give Christina Cole a big round of applause. She's a paralegal. She's also a real estate investor. And she figured out how to get to that next level just by putting in the next offer, submitting the next offer. And she's been in a lot of our programs, and absolutely amazing to watch her develop. And even when she's not doing very well, she literally is like, that's because I haven't been on the calls. That is what she says. So absolutely amazing to see you back. Go ahead, Mike. Michael Shine, and then Michael Hessen. Sorry, Mike. Whenever Mike Shine puts his hands up, I'm just like, okay, you first.
Yeah, I understand. So, Walter, we haven't officially met. I came on a few months ago as an infinite banking expert. That's why I have my own practice. Richard Ellison brought me on, and it was funny because I came down to Orlando mostly because I wanted to check you guys out. I was performing due diligence I wanted to get a better feel for whether I really wanted to be a part of this, and I was impressed. Big events like that are not really my thing, so I was kind of a little, I'm not a huge networker at a lot of people, but I was really impressed by, and really just impressed by what you guys are doing. It's really cool. So I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. And also, as far as, I have done real estate in the past, and it's definitely got my wheels turning. Does 21-day challenge make sense for someone like me is it specifically around real estate, or can it be around anything? Because I'm thinking about maybe expanding my practice, my infinite banking. So that was one question I had about this challenge that starts on Monday.
Let's give Michael a round of applause. A very good question. And I love the question because I can see Gary's head nodding. He's like, oh my God, yes. Patrick Tobias, who was just, we were talking this morning, he just locked down a $3.4 million acquisition on an insurance agency because he buys insurance agencies. He's an insurance agent himself. He went through the Recession Proof Challenge, and his marketing strategy and a lot of the principles that he uses came from what we learned in there. One of the things we're going to do every day is we're going to force you to reach out to 10 people. That is part of the requirement. So we're going to ask you to reach out to 10 people. But in challenge number 1, the first mission is actually, who is your avatar? So we're going to actually go deep into who is the one person such that by reaching them, everything else is easier or unnecessary. Who is that really high level client that you want to spend your time with, the perfect client, the one who pays, the one who stays, the one who loves you. And we're going to eliminate the 80-20, right? Like the 80% that just are a mess in your business. They're just annoying. They're all the problems. They don't even like you. They don't even pay, right? So the challenge is designed for entrepreneurs who are looking to have a real relationship. It's designed on something we call community-based selling. And so it's building a community of people who need your services over and over so you can have real relationships. I was actually a real estate agent. It's how I came across all of this, Michael, was I didn't like the idea of being transactional. I hated that my industry was work with one person, and 7 years they may buy a house. So, ask them for referrals all year long. I hated that part of it. And that's why I started building the Landlord Association, and I started just working with real estate investors. And I was just like, hey, who do you know? Who do you know? Because I was a valuable asset now, and I was actually just helping people build their portfolios, hence Build Millionaires. So Yes, the answer is it's going to also make you a better person. You're going to find you like your business more because now you're doing relational selling. There are 3 books we ask everybody to read. Book number 1 is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know you've read it. Read it again. That's just my rules. When we go through the challenge, we read a book a week. So How to Win Friends and Influence People, you're going to read it again because it's necessary for week 1. Week 2, we're going to go through Bob Burg's book, Endless Referrals. And the third one is Dream Manager. And this book was installed intentionally because it helps a person solve other people's problems. Like, how do you get into a person's head and really just listen to their dreams? And when you understand a person's dream, you understand how to move a person. So
that's cool.
Absolutely fantastic question.
Funny,
I'm glad you came down.
It's kind of happening organically because I'm through the Nelson Nash Institute, and I have a client just like yesterday. He's a business owner, real estate investor, and he gets it, and he's like perfect. And like that's who I want to keep working with. So yeah,
I'm Michael Heston. A round of applause. He's figured it out.
Yep, I'll sign up for it. Thank you.
Michael Shine, go ahead. Holistic attorney, the closer.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to like Thurbin, and it was kind of Christina's thing too. We get so focused on money that we say things like, what do you do when everything's going wrong? And I submit that you need to take a step back and look at everything that's going right, because maybe you do have an issue with money. And this is me, personally, sometimes the money thing, and I get so micro focused on the money that I forget that I have health, that I have faith, that I have relationship, that I have just the whole wheel of life. Money is only one part of that. So I just think that when you use words like every or always or never, that's when you should take a second and take a breath and say, is it really everything? Like, it's not everything that's going bad. Your pillow is still super comfy in your bed, and maybe your relationship is amazing, or maybe your health is perfect. So take a bigger view, because it's only like 1/10 of your life is solving the money problem. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Give Michael Shine a big round of applause. Important to hair, and I will tell you a little project that I'm working on that I literally started working on this morning with Dorina is a gratitude relationship book. So Dorina does something really powerful. I think every spouse on this call should learn it and start implementing it. Is she looks for things I've done well. She looks for things that I've done well in everything in the house, in the business, in my body, everything. She'll point out, wow, you went to the gym this morning at 5 o'clock. Great job. And she'll say, you look good. You look like you worked out. You look really good this morning. Great job. It's going to help you throughout the rest of the day. And she'll say those little things, and those little things make me think I'm going to the gym tomorrow at 5 a.m. because I got this little positive affirmation. My love language is quality time, which is why when I'm spending time with you, this is the most valuable asset I can give. The biggest gift I can give you is my time. And so for her, like, to spend that little bit of time in the morning saying that you look great and she's giving me the hug and just wanting to be around as I'm changing and getting myself ready for the next phase, her spending time with me because I showed up early and I have energy and I'm awake at the same time that she's awake, makes me want to do that again. Joe fans, if you understand what I'm talking about. So she's got a lot of those little things. So what I did is this morning I said, Dorina, I want you to take this new journal, this book, and I want you to write down all those little things that you do. I'm going to tell you, because she also said, you've done an amazing job working. Like last night, I was up late. I was working on your Millionaire Path report. Is anybody taking the Millionaire Path report? Excellent. I was updating it. So I was doing some work. I was reviewing it. I was updating it. It's now 5 pages, but when I'm done with it, it'll be about 10 pages, and it's going to give you a tremendous amount of value. Don't go test it out right now. It's still needs some work, but your Millionaire Path report is my big project. And she came into the office. She said, you still working on it? I said, yep. And she said, good job. Doing amazing. It's really going to help a lot of people. This is really good work. And she told me, she said, this is the most important thing for you to work on right now. And I just looked at her. I was like, that really helped. Like, that made me want to stay in the project, doing the thing, getting to that next level, really improving an asset for the community that each one of you benefits from. imagine if your spouse was trained, because I told her, I was like, I just need you to do these things. This was a training thing. It's not, she didn't come up with it nowhere. But I asked her, I was like, when you see me doing something well, please tell me. Please point it out so that I can start remembering that I do good things. So I can start changing my story to say I'm a more active man. I'm more productive. The things I do are important. I told her, I was like, I just need you to point these things out. When you see them, just say it to me so that I can remember. So I can change my own story. So I can be more productive. So I can be more effective. So I have her writing those down in a journal. And at some point, I may put, Jen Sullivan on this task of let's create a book that explains how to use this principle so that we can get spouses to build millionaires. And that's the ultimate leverage to me, is get your spouse to build you, for me, so I don't have to build you. The ideal would be to have somebody in your house always working on you. So when you get off these calls, you got somebody else who's doing that work for me. Jen Sullivan, go ahead. Oh, Deb Feller. Yeah, go ahead. Whoever unmutes first speaks goes. I do have to jump at 10:15. I have a meeting with our team. We're talking about the Millionaire Path Report. So we're all brainstorming to work on it because it's my main focus. So 10:15, I do have to jump, but we'll stick around and answer questions until then. For everybody who is jumping off, please go on Facebook and please share something that you've learned today. Just share the piece of information, whether it's put all your eggs in one basket, guard your dreams, focus on helping people, who your avatar is. I love working with real estate investors, like Michael just said. Just put some sort of share out on Facebook as a share with the world. And then also, if this has been valuable to you, please invite someone next week. Please invite an entrepreneur to come join us next week. Tell them to go to ibuildmillionaires.com, send them the link, stay on top of them so that I don't have to send out those notifications. If you can hold your friends accountable, that makes me look like a more valuable person instead of me being the person trying to deepen that connection. Show of hands if you understand what we're doing. We're building a community where we hold each other accountable to help each other and help more people. Awesome. Go ahead, Deborah.
Just want to say, Mike Shine, I love you so much. Thank you for touching on that, because it did make me realize I don't think it has nothing to do with the money, the time, or anything. Unfortunately, I had a little health scare last month. So now I realize it just has to do with me. That it has nothing to do with none of the above for me. It has just right now to do with me. Do I have enough time? This is just me focus on doing. So you're absolutely right, Mike. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. That's it, because it's important. It has nothing to do with the money, nothing. It just has to do with you doing what you have to do. Forget about how much time you have, where you're going to get the money from. It just has to do with, as far as me right now. So thank you, Mike. Always love you anyway. Besides, not more than I love Brenda, though, but.
Hey, this is going to kind of blow some people's minds, but if you could write this down and really focus on this, you create your own reality. I mean, Walter could do a program on this for like days, months, and years. But if you get the fact that in every area of your life, whether it's creating money, creating health, creating love, creating anything in your life, you create your own reality. So it's what you think inside creates what's outside. So Science of Getting Rich says that, so it's right in there. So don't forget that. We all create what we want. So if you're struggling with money, remember you're the one creating that. So let's go out there and create a different story, that we're money magnets.
And also, I just want to add that everything is temporary. Problems, money problems, health problems, maybe anything is just temporary. It's just, you will get over it. There is a tomorrow. Okay, guys. Bye.
That is very good. Let's give these ladies a round of applause. And by the way, Deborah, you have a very strong heart. Very aware of that. We see you healthy. We see you doing very well. Share with you, I know Jen wants to say something. Something I learned in yoga this week. A woman was running the class and I was sweating. I was actually dying. And Dorina said that this is heated yoga, Walter. I don't think you can handle it. And so obviously I did what every good man does when their wife tells them you can't do something, I said, I'll be fine. And I showed up and I got my yoga pants on and I got ready to sweat. And then the woman, she started walking around the room and she said, this is going to be a 75-minute class. And in my head, I was used to 45-minute classes that don't have heat. And I decided in that moment, this might suck. But I looked over at my beautiful girlfriend and I said, she's carrying a baby and doing this. There's no way she's going to know how much this sucks for me. I'm going to sweat like a man, and I'm going to be slippery and sliding all over this mat, but I'm going to hold my form. My goddess pose will be tight and it will be right. And so I died on that mat. And about 70 minutes into it, I physically gave up. I laid down in fetal position in baby downward baby or whatever that pose is, where you're just sitting there protecting your egg in one basket. And afterwards, I got up when the class was over, and the woman said something as she was walking across the room. She said this. She said, some of you are not hitting your goals. She said, this is that time of the year where people just realize, you're not hitting your goals. And maybe it's in business, maybe it's in your personal life, maybe it's in your relationship. But I feel like I have to tell you this, that it's okay. And that you are loved and that you are enough. And at that moment, I realized this is something I need to share with our community, because there's a lot of people pushing really hard. And I know I push you hard, and I know you push yourself harder than I'll ever push you. And I think it's really important. I'm getting that feeling from Mike and from the ladies, that it's important to remember that, yes, it's hard and it's okay to be right where you are. Genuinely, truly, it is okay to be right where you are, doing the things that you're doing with the progress that you've accomplished, and that you are loved and that you are enough, and that it will work out the way it's supposed to work out. So keep pushing forward, but be okay in the position you're in right now, and just get used to that position. Just, like Christina mentioned earlier, it's all temporary. That yoga session was 75 minutes long. And now I'm not sweating and I feel great. And I'm with my community. I'm with my tribe, and we're going forward. We're pushing. And I have a story. So like Rod Cleef likes to say, every hard challenge, every difficulty that comes to your life, every mistake you make, those are not challenges. Those become seminars. So learn the lesson well. Jen, did you have something before we jump off?
Were you thinking about the webinar?
What is the webinar?
The book writing webinar?
When is the book writing webinar?
The 21st.
That is the 21st of December. And what will everybody be learning in it?
How to structure your book.
How to structure your book. Excellent. So since I wrote books, I will tell you what the biggest change in my life has been since writing books. It's gotten me on more stages, gotten me on more podcasts, and it's basically a business card. Whenever I hand the book to somebody, they now know what I do, why I do what I do, and it becomes a lot easier. In fact, yesterday there was a gentleman who made a comment on social media and kind of scared me a little bit. He said, I've given up. Money it's not important. Relationships don't work. God isn't real. And none of this matters. And I just sent him a message. I said, hey, man, let's jump on a call. I don't know who this guy is, out of the hole in the wall. I don't know who he is, but many of you know my story. I came from a pretty dark place. And so when somebody is in a space like that, I can't help myself. So we got on the phone and I walked through some things. And at the end, he's like, so tell me about yourself. Like, how did you get like this? How did you decide, like, where did you come from? And I was like, that's why I wrote this book, Broke to $250,000. I'll send you the link because it tells you the story so that I don't have to go through all of that and make it all about me. I can just say, oh, Deborah's got it right there. Let's give Deborah Felder a round of applause. I love positive reviews on Amazon. They never get old. I love seeing them. So that is one of the reasons you write a book, is so that people can start where you'd like them to start instead of starting at the beginning. Use education so your clients come to you perfect, trained, prepared. Some great books for real estate investors would be books about how to sell your house to an investor, how to prepare your house for selling to an investor fast, how to sell your house for cash, like the benefits of selling to an investor. Like there's all sorts of like strategies that you can actually do to prepare a person to sell their house to you at a discount. So they understand seller financing, the benefits of it. So they understand subject to, and there's a lot of things that an author can do to prepare their clients for working with them. So depending on your industry and what you're doing, that's what your book would be about. Does that make sense? You want to be the authority on the subject. So selling to investors, if you're an investor who's like, I buy houses, you'd want to write the book on here's how you sell your house fast, how to sell your house fast and get cash. Like that'd be the book. And then you hand that to your clients. But yeah, oh yeah, I wrote the book on this. This is my thing. Yeah, I just kind of consult. I help people out with that. Like that's the book I wrote. So fans, if you get it. Yeah, it is crazy. And there's all sorts of, you can do this in any industry, any business. It's absolutely sick. So I do have to jump. I did want to make sure that each of you did know how to find the principles. Wealth principle next week is build a business. So this one you do not want to miss. You do want to incorporate. I'm going to show you why. Well, not incorporate, but you want LLCs. But next wealth principle is really fun. It's build a business. We're going to do some steps together. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. I'll see you next week. And for those of you in the Recession Proof Challenge, I will see you Monday at 11. Enjoy your weekend. After this, it's all work.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock Monday, Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys.